Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It, our podcast about online school and how we do it at Education Worldwide. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mary and this is the first time that we see each other in 2024. Unfortunately, although this podcast should have been monthly, we were not able to do the podcast in 2 previous months, but that's not the problem because I believe that tonight's episode will be super exciting and you'll find out something very interesting about our online school. As you probably saw in the description, the topic of tonight's podcast is EduWW Spanish Club, which is an extracurricular activity in our school, and that's why we have invited a special guest, our dear colleague Marina, who is running this club. Marina, welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Thank you, it's good to be here. Thank you, Mary.
Finally, I mean, after
Finally.
you were on the other side watching us and supporting us, and now you're in the guest chair. And of course, there's Anita, my co-host. Hello, Anita. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome back. We haven't seen you in a while, actually, since
I think
November.
since November, yeah.
You didn't join us during the holiday special, so.
But I'm here now.
Yeah, you're here now. Okay, great. So I hope you're both ready to talk about the Spanish club. And I know, Marina, that Spanish is, I mean, you love to teach Spanish to
Yes,
our
I
students. You love to speak Spanish as well.
Of course.
And you know to spread the good vibes about Spanish culture in general. So can you tell me when did the Spanish club started operating and how did you guys get the idea of forming such club?
Of course. Well, first of all, the club started in January, beginning of January, after the winter break.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, teaching Spanish in an international school is a really unique experience, as I get to meet students from different cultural and linguistic backgrounds. So that is really, really nice. And we have a lot of students who love and want to learn Spanish language. Mm-hmm. So that's why we offer Spanish 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. If we are talking about proficiency levels, we are offering from beginners to native level. So that's why we formed Spanish 1, which is happening Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Central Eastern Time. Then we have Spanish 2, which is Tuesdays and Fridays, 3 p.m. And 4 p.m. I'm sorry. And then we have for advanced learners, we have Spanish 3, which is happening Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Central Eastern Time.
So you divided students based on their English language proficiency so far.
Exactly.
Which is really good. But before we dive into the particularities of the club, we first have to explain that Spanish language is available as an elective for students from what age?
If you're asking me about the club, it's from the grade 6 to the grade 12th.
Okay, and Anita, maybe you know from which grades are, is it from grade 3 in elementary school or?
Well, we don't
I
really
think it
generalize
depends,
which grade, but we do recommend that students from, let's say, grade 3 to grade 12. Like it's available for all grades.
Yeah, because I heard that the curriculum for the subject is very huge in volume. So maybe younger students are not able to.
It's a bit overwhelming
master
for them.
it during the 1 year. So
I know for Prime, for example, our kids on the Prime program, they did Spanish, but they did. I think it was Spanish 1, obviously. Rather than doing a full year of it, they did half a semester, but they dragged it along the whole year. So it kind of spread out the workload for them and it made it a little bit easier and not as content heavy for them. So,
okay, so but it depends.
Yeah.
In any case, this is a message for parents. If you want your child to study Spanish as an elective subject, the best thing would be to contact the tutor or the consultant and to talk with them to see if they're able to master that particular subject during their school year. So let's go back. As all electives, Spanish language as well, is not something that we teach in group classes because it's an elective, so we don't have students who are the same at the same level, so we cannot form a group class. So it's naturally they can only book an individual class to study.
Exactly.
So I understood that that's one of the reasons why you guys started the club. Can you tell me what do you guys do at the club meetings? Like how it's organized and the concepts of everything, how it looks like.
Of course. Well, first of all, a Spanish club basically served the students to learn the language outside the classroom, and not only the language, but to deeply understand the culture and the other things, basically how, for example, if you are learning a language, if I want to learn now Finnish, for example, I would want to know the history, the culture. I would want to know about the cuisine, about the music, about the movies, series, etc. So all that we do in the clubs. We don't do just the language because, of course, if a student asks me, can we do now something on the platform? I will always say, yes, of course, we will. I will help you do the lesson, explain the grammar and whatever you prefer, of course. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to learn about the history, to learn about the traditions of the country, not just Spain, but South America, Central America as well. So that's why we watch documentaries, we practice language outside the platform through also conversational activities. So I am trying to include everything to make them fall in love at the language. As if you ask me, Spanish is the most beautiful language in the world. That's just my opinion, of course. And I always welcome new students to join and to see why is it so beautiful and why is it basically the third most spoken language in the world, and the second most spoken language, basically if we are looking globally in native terms, it is second one. And if we are looking at the Romance language group, it is the first one. So I think in the future, if you're learning the language now, in the future, it can really help you in your career path.
Yeah, that's great. And it doesn't come as a surprise that Spanish language is actually the most popular among foreign languages in our school as well. So it all comes together, you know. Yeah. Well, that's really great. And I know that January was recent, you know, and probably there's not have been much time to, you know, to do the club. But did you notice if students have improved their overall score in Spanish language after attending clubs?
Yes.
Like on the platform?
Yes, they do. Actually, what I loved about the whole process until now is that students are learning the language and still learning about the culture and about its diversity, especially Spain and South America and history. That way they're understanding the language better. So I know that on the platform there are a lot of lessons including history. So not only language itself, the grammar, the literature, but the history as well. So I noticed how scores got higher, yes.
Also, it's already visible, so to speak. That's really great. I'm really happy when we implement something that brings students more benefits in overall education. So I think it's really good. What are some of the impressions of students so far about the club? Do they have any special requests? Do you organize the entire club meeting on your own, and do you ask them for a suggestion and listen to what they say? How it looks like from that angle?
I always have something on my mind, what are we going to do that day, that club? But I always ask them, okay, so would you like to do something on the platform, or would you like to watch some videos about how, for example, Spain was formed, or would you like to explore South America countries? So I ask them, and then we all get to an agreement, and we do that particular subject.
Great. And what are some of the impressions? I asked you two questions in a single question, so sorry. It's something that I often do, so people usually reply to answer one question and forget the other one. So did you have any chance to hear some feedbacks from them, like if they're satisfied, happy, or if they want something to be improved?
I think that having more and more students in my clubs is a feedback.
Yeah.
And I think that students coming to my classes, to my clubs regularly is also a really good feedback.
Yeah.
And them being able to participate, to being engaged really, to feel free and to just ask me whatever they want, to not to hold back, basically. So I think that's really important. For me, it is really important, not only in clubs, but other classes, one-on-one classes, for them to be free to ask me whatever they want, to ask me for help. So that is for me the most important thing.
That's great. That's really good to hear. And sorry, can you repeat just one more time? So we have like 3 levels for the club?
Exactly.
2 times a week?
We have,
Or
yes,
one?
only the advanced level, which is Spanish 3, is happening once a week, and that is Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Central Eastern Time. About Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, Spanish 1 is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. And Spanish 2 is Tuesdays and Fridays 4 p.m.
Great.
Central Eastern Time.
I mean, the best thing would be if you guys didn't manage to catch up the timetable, feel free to write to us. We will send you the timetable, but just for the reference so that you know that it's not like once a month or, I don't know, 2 times per month. It's weekly, non-weekly basis, and it's truly giving the results. Which is something that we actually wanted. Another question, like, did you notice that they are like, they probably are, you know, but if they're more open and free to speak in Spanish, even though if their expression is not really good, or if they don't know the grammar, or they didn't, you know, they don't have sufficient language skills, but they're more free to speak during these clubs?
I like that question a lot because students don't have problems talking in Spanish, really. I love that. They don't have problems. They just, when I tell them, okay, let's start speaking Spanish, and then I just go, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? And then I expect them to respond in Spanish, and they're like, hola, maestra, and they're really cute. So they don't really have problems. They don't have that language barrier. I just tell them, speak. You will make mistakes. I will correct you. That's not a big deal. Of course, it's normal to make mistakes. You're doing Spanish 1, 2, 3 even, so you're not at the native level. So it is fine to make mistakes. So they are trying to speak as much as possible, and I encourage them every time in every class or club to do that. So we, of course, always have some laughs when someone makes a mistake, and of course, I'm not laughing. I don't say I'm laughing, but the students correct himself or herself, and then it starts, ha ha ha, and starts laughing, and then the whole class starts laughing. And
well, that's really good when they make a mistake, so they don't get like, you know, I don't know how to say it, like they should be afraid, because they made a mistake. And they should feel relaxed, and you know, so I thought that, I know personally for myself, I would be more comfortable speaking some language during a club or something that is not related to the class or to the school, you know, but rather something outside. And I would probably suck during the class, you know. So it's always like that, you know. Like
during the class,
I'm always afraid when I have to, you know, like exam. Imagine oral exam, for example.
I do that,
and you have to speak in front of the, you know, teacher and some foreign language. You don't know anything, you know. And when you speak with your friends outside, when the atmosphere is different, you know, and the whole context of the gathering is different.
And I don't know if you have a lot of families like who the students are doing the Spanish club, but I've had a lot like come back and say like, we love the Spanish club and we love Marina.
So she's great about the Spanish is really good.
And I think it's really important that it's so nice to hear that someone has like such like love for the language and culture, and then that kind of reflects onto the students. And I feel that you've built this like environment with them where they're so comfortable that their confidence is like up here, so if they do make a mistake, they can joke about it and just learn from it and go further. And really I think it's really important as well, like that you've created this environment with them. So like I've had so many parents say, we love it, you know, we want more.
I don't have a lot of students anymore, but yeah, some of them took Spanish as their elective, but I believe they were mostly high school students, and they usually do it individually on their own, because they're usually athletes, and they don't have the time to join classes or something like that, so they do it individually. But honestly, if you're following Spanish, just join the clubs. It will be more interesting for you. So, or if you're considering taking Spanish as an elective, the club is definitely one of the reasons why you should opt for it. And just to be, on the right side, we also have a French club, right? Because French is another elective, another language that we have as an elective.
Yeah.
Although there are not many students
Not as
in the
many.
French.
Like Marina said, Spanish is the most common, and we literally have like elementary, middle, and high schoolers doing Spanish.
But it sounds so nice. I mean, I know because
it flows.
everything is in English, in our school, in our offices, and everywhere. Everything is in English. So when I pass by some office and hear Spanish, I'm like, oh my God, somebody is speaking Spanish. So it's really nice to hear that, Yeah. And you and some other colleagues like Tammy or Sophie, they usually speak Spanish too. So it's really nice to hear that language as well. Okay, and let's talk about the subject itself, because we mentioned several times that it's independent learning, so students learn individually. Can you explain for the families that are listening, for parents and maybe students who are listening, how the material is presented on the platform, like how it looks like when you're learning entirely new language on the online learning platform, how everything looks like? Can you tell us?
Of course, yeah. I like the courses very much, to be honest. I think they are very well formed. First of all, I would like to say that it's a common misconception, because students schedule classes with me, for example, or they take Spanish and they just tell me, but teacher, I thought this was easier. I thought this is easy. What is this? I'm like, okay, that is a common misconception, because they think that Spanish, because of the softness, because of that, let's say, sensual way of speaking, that it's an easier language. But when they see grammar on the platform, it's amazing how well it's done on the platform, to be honest, they get a bit scared, because they're gonna encounter for the first time with feminine or masculine nouns, gender-neutral nouns, subjective forms, 30 different ways of speaking in past tense. So they're like, what is this? They feel exactly. So they feel overwhelmed because of that. But on the platform, it starts with the vocabulary list that they will have in the lesson. So when I do a class with them, we go through the vocabulary list. I check what they remembered. We try to pronunciate the words itself just a bit to sound a bit more native, because I know that not all the people can roll their R's, right, like we can. But yes, after that it goes the grammar, and then it goes the discussion. So it is very well formed. After everything there is an assignment, there is a quiz. Only thing that you cannot actually choose while doing things on the platform is the dialect. As we all know that there is Castellano or Castilian that most of the people in Spain talk, and then there is the dialect from South America. So there are differences. Of course, we can understand each other, but there are small differences between the dialects. So the dialect on the platform is more Latin American than Spanish from Spain, so more than Castilian. So that's why I have students asking me, but why do you say gracias? And then they say gracias, and then I have to explain the differences. But I love that, because that is the way to explain why do we speak that dialect? Why do they speak that dialect?
So teach them the difference, which is
exactly.
Good. Yeah. I was always wondering, because I'm not familiar with Spanish so much, but I was always wondering, but it makes sense that the dialect is different, when somebody says gracias, for example, like me, who is not, nowhere near a native speaker, or somebody who says it softer, like you did the first time. I won't even try to do it, because I can't. So I was thinking which one was right. It turns out that both are right, but the dialects are different.
There are no right or wrong. They're just different way to pronunciate. If anyone who is wondering, you can type on TikTok or Instagram Spanish accents. Really funny videos, but explaining very well how to pronunciate different words, just using different dialects. And there are a lot of dialects in Spain, South America, and Central America as well.
Great. Okay, I would just make a short break to invite the ones who are watching us to ask any questions in the comment section. They can be related to the topic, or they can be something related to online schooling in general. Feel free to ask us anything. We will reply during this podcast. Or if you don't have a question, you can just share. If you have somebody who's from Spanish Club, feel free to join us and share your impressions publicly, or maybe ask a question, give some advice on how to improve. Although I believe that Marina is having pretty good ideas, and she's going she's on a good road when it comes to that. So no need for any suggestions. But if you have anything to add, or simply say hi, tell us from which country you're watching us. We are here. Yeah.
Or you can say hola.
Or you can say something in Spanish. I wouldn't be able to translate it. So maybe I can ask Marina to. Oh, we have. Okay, so we have Valerio Zudas. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. He says, or Valerio, so it's probably he, says, hello, our son is happy with online school, but after several months we figured out that it's not able to speak even a simple sentence. Do they write also in Spanish sometimes? I believe that he believes that his son doesn't speak English very well, maybe, or something.
English? He speaks. He's actually in the Prime program.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You know who it is.
Yes. I know him. He is on the Prime program, where there are about 15 to 18 students. I think he can, because I ask him every class when we are doing something. I go from the first student to the last student when we are doing exercises, and he always responds correctly. 90% of the time he does. When we do the quiz, he rarely asks me for help. So maybe he just need to relax when talking to someone who is not me or people in the class. Someone from the outside, like his parents or his friends from his country. Maybe he just need to relax a bit, as he is, I think, 5th grade or 4th grade even. So he's still a kid. Yeah. And I think he will need a bit more time to relax. We all have our timeline, and it's important not to push them, but to give them support. And I think that they will be amazed how much he actually have learned until now.
Okay, that's great. Well, Valeria, I hope you're satisfied with the answer. And it's super nice that you recognize the last name, so you know which student we're talking about, which is really good. Anyhow, Valeria, thank you for asking the question. Anybody else who wants to join, we are here, we're talking, so feel free to interrupt us anytime. We will gladly dedicate our time to you and your question. Okay, so let's go back to the subject, Spanish language. So we were talking about how it's developed. I'm constantly having this designed and credited to the platform developed. Okay, so can you tell me, like, is there any feature on the platform or some tool that is added on the platform that can help them learn better? I don't know, because I know that platform is interactive and uses multimedia elements, but I'm not sure for the language subjects how it looks like. Do they, I don't know, have some tool that actually says some words so they can hear the expression and how to pronounce the correct word, how it looks like? Can you describe in any details if you can?
Yes, when they see, for example, a text in Spanish and they're not sure how to pronounce it, they can just click on the word itself and click on the play. They can select the language and that's it. The translation, when I say the language, I mean the translation of the word, or they can hear the pronunciation. Also, videos are perfectly done. I'm really happy with the videos, because the videos are not very, let's say, strict, very formal, but they're made really, like, it's supposed to be fun. When you are watching the video, you're like learning the language but still having fun. So I noticed that students focus a lot on those videos, which is great. Yes. I think that is quite great. So yes, that's probably the most, for me, it's probably the best thing on the platform. For now, of course, when it comes to Spanish language, is the videos, as it contains the subject itself, grammar, and at the end, practice.
Great. Now this question that Valeria asked, reminded me to ask, did we have any students who maybe gave up because the language was super hard for them and they couldn't, master it? Did we have any situations like that? And what in cases, if you as a teacher notice that this child is simply not talented, I can say it like that because not everybody can learn a language. Did we have situations like that, and what do you do in such moments?
Honestly, when they tell me, I think I don't have talents, I cannot do that, I tell them just 1% is talent, 99% takes practice. So no, that's not an excuse if you ask me. I saw a really beautiful picture that I always show to the students who want to give up, and that is like a half full bottle that is small, and it says my skills. And then if you just pour one drop into the bottle, after a couple of years you will have a lot of bottles filled of course with your skill, which is going to be something that is going to last for the lifetime. So no, I don't think that there are students who cannot learn the language. Spanish is complex, but it's not impossible to learn. So until now I didn't have examples like that. As I say, Valerio is gonna relax. He's gonna be able to talk to his family and to his friends, but just give him time.
Okay, great. Well, that's why you are the teacher and not me, because I would probably give up after seeing that somebody can't learn a language. So, nice point over there. Okay, and do you have any tip for students who took Spanish as an elective, for example? The ones who are younger, who are still studying, do you have something like maybe you give them an advice during the class or something like that? What can they do at home to practice and to be more efficient for younger students and for those who are at higher level, how to improve their language even further, like something outside of the classroom? And
I always say listen. Listen to the language. That's the best way to learn it. Kids today, students are focused on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. There are plenty of videos in Spanish language. It is third most spoken on the internet. So I always say listen to the language. Find a topic that you like, put subtitles in English, but listen to the language. And that's the way to do it. If you ask me, for example, how much time would you need to learn a language, to learn Spanish in particular, I would just say practice, of course, according to your availability, but practice 1 hour per day. 1 hour per day, that's all you need. You don't have to sit with the book and just look at the grammar and all the conjugations and everything. You will be like, no. That's not the way. So it is not math, like you have to sit and write numbers and calculate. It gives you creativity. You can express yourself listening to the language as you are reading something that you like, looking at watching something that you like. Watch it in Spanish. Nowadays everything is out there. You can just type whatever you like in Spanish, that's it. So if you ask me, it's always listen to the language. There are a lot of amazing TV shows in Spanish language. I'm not gonna now, of course, tell every TV show that exists, but there are. And for younger kids as well, for older kids. So Spanish music, I know that a lot of people is listening to reggaeton. Don't listen to reggaeton because bad words. But Spanish music is amazing. So
I was gonna say, like nowadays everything has like some Spanish verse.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm there like singing and I don't know what I'm singing. And I'm like, no.
Exactly my point. Yes. So maybe that was the response you were looking for.
That was a great response, because I wanted also to ask, does listening to music help? Because I know that me personally, when I'm listening to music or watching movies in a particular language, I tend to learn that language much faster, So it's pretty common, probably for all languages. That's really great. Anita, do you have anything to ask or to add on this topic?
I did have a question. Because our groups are kind of categorized grades 6 to 12, but like by proficiency. Do you feel that like which grades, or I don't want to say like middle school, high school and all that, like have you seen a particular like popularity in certain maybe high schoolers or middle schoolers, or
what do you mean by popularity?
Like which students do you find like majority of them are say like high schoolers that join Spanish club, or middle schoolers, or
it's really mixed.
50-50, yeah.
So it's 50-50, yeah. I have maybe like 2-3 students that are in middle school, then 2-3 students, I mean in the same group, that are high school, and they all somehow know each other, which is great. Or if they didn't know each other, now they do, which is even better. And they all work together very well.
Yeah.
So they're not like, but I don't want to do this, I want to do this, another student wants to do something else. So I didn't have that in my clubs, to be honest, until now. They all work together very well, and we always have something fun to talk about. I remember, I think it was a month ago or something like that, a student told me that she had a dream that I was the Spanish queen, Isabela Católica, which was great, and she was Christopher Columbus, but she's a girl, her gender is female. So she told me that I was financing her trip to discover America. I was like, great. So then we were trying to figure out what would be her name if she was Christopher. It was Cristofera. No, let's think of something else. And we all laughed a lot. And then all the students wanted to have a Spanish names. So Peter was Pedro, etc. So it was amazing.
So you have different names during the Spanish club, just to be in,
but I'm sure that
for
now
role-playing.
exactly.
I was gonna say, do you ever like, now that you join the clubs, okay, Peter's not Peter, he's Pedro, that we have.
Yeah, exactly. We did that. So now I'm sure that she, because of course Christopher Columbus' discovery of America is one of the biggest events in history, especially for Spain and Portugal. So I'm sure that now she will, 20 years from now, she will remember how did she find out about the discovery. She will remember for
From
sure.
her dream.
Yeah. And now that you mentioned that, do you have any other anecdote from the club, or just from classes that you found it interesting and funny, and something cute that you would like to mention?
Well, I just thought about this one. So for now, I cannot remember that, but this one was my favorite. That's why I told it.
Really good. Imagine those kids coming back to home. They're already at home because this is an online school, but after classes, and I don't know, parents call him like Peter, and he's, no, I'm Pedro. I'm not Peter.
No, it would be great for him to say, no, yo soy Pedro.
Definitely, sorry.
And then the parents are, okay.
So they continue to speak. Do you have situations where actually Spanish, even though if it's not their native language, but other members of family speak Spanish too, so do you have any situations like that? So maybe, I don't know, mom or dad or brother or sister
Background
join
is like...
That they are native speakers.
No native speakers, but the kid who is studying Spanish in our school, that in the house other family member also speaks Spanish, and maybe they can communicate. Do you have situations like that? I believe that also affects their
Yeah, I believe so.
Everything.
Yes, of course. There are families who speak Spanish as well. But since I'm usually, beside prime program, I'm usually having classes with high school students, now middle school as well, because of the club. So they're pretty independent in their own rooms, doing their own things. So I don't hear that often. But usually they share it with me. They say, oh, my mom knows Spanish, or my dad speaks Spanish. And then I always tell them, so you can practice, perfect. So your conversation will get even better. So yes.
Great.
Do we have any like Spanish students or from like Latin America that are joining the clubs? Like that their native language is like Spanish,
in Spanish,
but they're still...
yes.
Yeah.
In Spanish 3. I have one student who is from Colombia, and he joined because he wanted to see what the club is about. Is it just for and I wanted to say extranjeros because I just missing the word in English, but for non-natives, let's say it like that. And I told him, you can join the club whenever you want, because we are not just doing the language, and when others join you can help me, so we can do the club together. So why not? It would be fun. And then he continued joining, so yeah.
That's really nice, because then he can like share first-hand experience about like the culture and everything. So that's like a good thing that we don't subject our clubs to like non-speakers or non-native like Latin American or Spanish.
Yeah, because they probably hang out after the class via social media or something, so it's good because they can practice even with somebody who's native.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's really good. Okay, and we're coming to an end. So I have another question, which is, do you have, for example, like something that is really tough to master in Spanish language and it's not easy to understand, or something that is a stumblestone for students in general? Like, do you have any advice for students who are not joining classes or don't have time to join clubs, but they are learning independently, individually, without any support? Maybe they will be listening this podcast or watching us right now. Do you have something to tell them, like should they just give themselves time and be persistent, or what is some advice that you would give?
Practice a lot. Not even, for example, if you're coming to the clubs or to the classes, it's not enough. That's not enough. If you want to learn the language and if you really want to engage, it's once a week, twice a week, 45 minutes, that's not enough. When I'm saying not enough, I'm saying with me and other students as well. You have to do it by yourself as well, meaning that you can go, if you don't want to use platform, you can go type on Google. If you're having problems with gender of the nouns, for example, because that's a common problem in Spanish language, for students I mean, exceptions, etc., gender neutral nouns, which they are not really familiar with when we start. So that is something that is usually a problem. So I recommend typing on Google. If you're not with me in my class, I will, of course, if you are, I will explain. If not, use all the tools that are given to you on the internet. But yes, when you asked me about some, let's say, difficult things to learn in Spanish language, I would say that is probably subjective. It's called subjuntivo. It doesn't exist in English. It exists in Roman languages like French, maybe Italian, I'm not quite sure. But it is a really difficult form to master. And I would recommend practicing a lot really, because that's the only way.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I hope that you guys are satisfied with everything that you have heard during this episode. If you have any questions, you can always ask to tutors or consultants, and they will be happy to provide you with the answer and help you with anything regarding not just Spanish as an elective, but anything else. And take Spanish as an elective, enjoy the club, so that you can learn a lot of amazing things, not about the language itself only, but also about the Spanish culture, as you mentioned, because it's pretty much interesting and it enriches the overall experience in learning. Marina, do you have anything else to add? Maybe there's something that I didn't ask you. So do you have anything to add on this topic, or?
Well, I would just like to say that everyone is welcome to join, whoever is doing Spanish, so from grade 6 to 12th. Whoever needs particular one-on-one classes in our school is welcome. So I think I'm not very strict. I think I can teach you, because my love and support is gonna give you knowledge
and reflect back.
Yes, reflect back.
Gain that love.
Of course, yes. So you're welcome. And if you have problems, if you think that it's very hard, that you should give up, that, for example, your son still cannot speak the language, don't give up. Don't give up. It's over the night. We cannot do anything. So my let's say, goal at the end of the day is to help them and to make them feel like it's possible. It is really possible.
Yeah, that's great. Anita, anything to add? No.
No. When I hear it in Spanish. No.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching this podcast. I forgot to mention that during the podcast, but please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll try to be on time. So hopefully we will see you in April with another topic, with another guest from Education Worldwide Online School. And share this link with somebody who might find it interesting, you know, not just regarding the club, but also online schooling in general. And take a look at previous episodes because you can find out a lot. And don't forget that we have open enrollments throughout the entire year, so you can always enroll in Education Worldwide. Again, thank you very much for watching and see you next month. Bye.